All right, good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday. We got the Pittsburgh crew in today. So we got Alex Deacon from Deacon Hoover and Liam Tennis, who's part of Deacon Hoover, but he's under Jeremy Taggart Team PGH. So morning, fellas.
Morning,
Morning.
Mark. What's up, Alex?
What's up, buddy?
Yep. So let's kind of dig into it. So this is I think kind of big in the news, and Liam kind of touched on it on last week's live also. But there was some news about Trump money being funded for I don't know 90 billion was it to AI in Pennsylvania, and a lot of that's also going to be geared towards Pittsburgh. So is that kind of something big in the news right now for you folks, Alex?
I don't follow the news. That's the first I heard of it. I never watched the news. So enlighten me. What's going on?
All right. So Liam, what I know you have some notes on it.
Yeah, so last week I think it was Trump and all these major CEOs and cabinet members had AI and energy summit, I think it was called, at Carnegie Mellon University. Um, so and Senator Dave McCormick and the governor Josh Shapiro were all there, and they announced 90 billion or 92 billion dollars worth of investment into Pennsylvania, mainly Western Pennsylvania, it sounds like, in like AI and energy infrastructure. So it's gonna be like data centers, um,
Wow.
energy and infrastructure upgrades. Uh, let's see. There's going to be, I think, some nuclear plant expansions with Westinghouse. Uh, a bunch of investment from Google, Meta, uh, kind of all over the place. Beaver County, Westmoreland County, uh, Washington County. Obviously, like the urban core of Pittsburgh will be getting some stuff as well with some partnerships with CMU. But that's kind of going to be going on all around the city of Pittsburgh into some of these neighboring counties. But yeah, I mean that was huge news when I saw it, because I that's a massive amount of investment that Pittsburgh has never really seen,
Mm.
and they're trying to position it as like the AI kind of capital of the world, or like some of the headlines that we're seeing popping up on the national news were saying like Silicon Valley of the East. Like we're kind of seeing these national headlines hit, but it's a massive amount of infrastructure that no one particular city has seen yet for this kind of next wave of technology that's going to be coming over the next few, 5 to 10 or 20 years. So kind of positions Pittsburgh area and Western PA in, really advantageous position going forward.
Wow, that's interesting.
So Alex, like you're saying, you don't follow the news and whatnot, and Liam kind of mentioning kind of what's coming down the pipeline. What do you expect maybe for the real estate market with that type of news coming down? And if it does, come to fruition, because there's also a lot of people that go, we'll when it happens, then we'll start, digging deeper into it. So
Yeah, that's a good. Well, if you listen to what Warren Buffett says, when the masses run to something, you should be running away, and vice versa. So what that means, tongue in cheek, is you just don't know. Um, if you just, I'm going to go buy everything in the Pittsburgh market, and then it doesn't happen, you probably overpaid because you made some mistakes, and now you're going to be in a pickle. Or it could be, I'm going to go buy everything, and it does come to fruition, and there is a spike in the market here, and you've done well. So it's a risk. You're hedging your bets on something that you don't know is going to happen, and you don't really know the magnitude of it. Like another example is they built this $1 billion fracking plant. The gas plant out in
Yeah,
Hoover County.
I
It
was
really
just mentioning that. Yeah.
never made an impact. They redid the north side. They put a casino in. They did this. They did that. It never made a huge impact on the rents over in Manchester, which is right behind it. It made an impact on the prices. The values went up, but the rents didn't really keep up with that. So you just have to look at the whole picture and just remember you are speculating. So you're like gold mining. You may hit a gold nugget. You may hit bust. So it's just do your homework, stick to the fundamentals always, and good things will happen.
I like that, and that's why I also want to bring up today. I think, I think we got to come up with a different name. Like I said, I always refer to you as the Yoda for me investing, and I think we got to come up with a better, catchy name for you. So if anyone in the chat has a better name that they can come up for Alex, then throw it in there. Also, Alex does have a YouTube channel, so it's in the chat. So go please follow his channel, and if you also want to connect with Liam, there's their Team Taggart's Team PGH Instagram page. So go click on that and follow them. Um, but yeah, so what are you guys seeing in the market right now? So I think you guys do work in real estate, part of the same company, but you guys have your own kind of teams and whatnot. So Alex, maybe you can go first on what you're seeing on your side of things.
Liam and Jeremy and his, I think it's Logan, right? Liam on your team.
Yep.
They probably have their finger on the pulse as far as right now the demand and the supply, because they're in the trenches. They're working with a lot of buyers. So I'll defer to him for what's going on as far as how much inventory and how much this and that. I've just what I've seen, and Liam will expand on this, is it seems like the real estate market generally for single family homes, like people that are going to be buying a home and living there, it seems like that market perhaps is kind of leveled off a little bit or just gotten back more to normal. But it seems like the investor market is still pretty hot because it's different. People are coming here not to buy to raise their family. They're coming here to invest money. So it changes the landscape. The landscape stays the same, but I think the demand is still pretty high. Liam, what can you expand on that?
Yeah, I would agree. I think single family houses, like we've seen more inventory with those. I think some of the flip properties or just overall like good single family houses that we've seen come online are having a little bit more trouble selling than they have in years past. Like, those flips are tending to set on the market a little bit longer. And prices are kind of coming down as a result of that. And then, yeah, on the investment side of things, like we still have very active buyers. Again, like more inventory with some of the multis and investment grade stuff. But the good ones are still going really quick. Like, if you see a good 2 to 4 unit property, or like a really good burr, like fixer type deal, those are still going to get, probably multiple offers, maybe go over asking price. But that's happening less often now. But generally, yeah, the market's kind of laid off a little bit more inventory, bit more days on market with stuff. But the high quality stuff is still going quick.
What I'm hearing a lot too, and maybe you guys can touch on it, is finding contractors right now or handyman is super difficult because the market is still very busy. So I have people reaching out to me just because they can't find anyone to really come out to do some work because people are just swamped right now. Is that what you guys are hearing or seeing out there also?
Yeah,
I think
we're overwhelmed right now with the workload we have.
I think for me, I mean, I think it's a little bit different for us because like we have such good relationships built over so many years. So like personally, I haven't had any issues. But I know contractors are busy. Yeah. So like, typically they're not going to walk something prior to getting it under contract. They're maybe less likely to do that because they're very busy. Gotta kind of be the squeaky wheel a little bit, get on them to get out there and get things done. But yeah, we're kind of spoiled. We have good relationships built over a long period of time, and we were able to pass that on to our clients too. Like same people we use on our own deals are the ones we refer to clients. So hopefully our clients aren't having a huge issue. But generally speaking, like handyman stuff or smaller rehabs or whatever, yeah, it can be difficult sometimes.
Let's see. Do you guys have any idea maybe what zip codes could be impacted by this investment from the Trump administration?
So I can spew off a couple of these, like Google / Alphabet $25 billion data center expansion in Beaver County, near the Shell ethane cracker plant that Alex just mentioned, Westmoreland County, Let's see here. Pittsburgh area research and cloud AI facilities are going to be brought online in collaboration with CMU. Grid updates around Pittsburgh. Let's see. $15 billion worth of grid modernization in Allegheny, Butler, Beaver, and Washington counties. There's no zip codes that I'm seeing, but mostly countywide where they're focusing on. I do have a map here. Let me see if you can guys see this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of the map where some of these sites are being announced. You can see where the rivers fork, like that's, downtown Pittsburgh. So it's kind of all around this general region here is where some of these sites have already been announced. And then
would these be where they put these massive computers to house?
Yeah. Data center expansions, because with the
Harrison City in there, Harrison City's
I
like
don't know.
far away.
I'm not sure.
Like
It's kind of all along this southwestern region of Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. But the only reason I asked is I met with a structural engineer to have him look at one of my properties, and Ed, I don't know if you know Ed.
Yeah, he's great. That's who I use. Yeah.
It's funny. He was telling me because they build these big steel buildings. That's one of the things they do, and he's bidding out a 600-acre site in Harrison City to house one of these massive centers to house all the computers. So that was
because with the AI thing, it's like these AI companies like need so much energy. We just don't have the amount of electricity to power them. So that's why they need to do the grid modernization and the power plants and then the data centers. So they have all the like infrastructure in place to kind of support this next wave that's happening in tech.
Yeah, these are big sites, man. I was like,
yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like the implications of it. I mean, these build outs take 5 or 10 years and inevitably there's some delays. So I agree with Alex. Like it's a good opportunity. Like keep it in the back of your head. Maybe keep an eye on some of these sites. But delays happen and stuff. You still might be waiting 5 or 10 years to get an uptick in equity or appreciation, which is fine because it's still like relative to what we've had, like a very stable flat market or like slowly up and to the right. Relative to that, it's still like a good boost to the overall area and market. But just be smart, use common sense. Don't just buy everything. Make sure you're, if you're going to take advantage of it, invest in a site where it should have a direct impact based on some of these things that are getting built out and stuff, and then kind of go from there.
Do you guys think there's a lot of pent up demand right now in the Pittsburgh real estate market? It seems like other parts of the country, right? High interest rates, high home prices. There's a lot of demand sitting on the sidelines. Are you guys seeing that, you think, in Pittsburgh right now?
I don't see a ton sitting on the sidelines. Like we still have active buyers and like just a steady flow of people coming from out of state or out of town wanting to invest in Pittsburgh. I think if anything, this might give it a little boost because Pittsburgh's not really, I mean, Alex, you can agree with me or not. I think Pittsburgh's not really been on the national scene in terms of investing or like a place to really park your money. But maybe since this is, a massive amount of investment that's not really happening anywhere else, maybe it's that catalyst that's makes people realize, oh, maybe, Pittsburgh is probably a good place to kind of take advantage of this. So if anything, maybe we'll get an uptick over the next 5 years or whatever. But I haven't seen many people sitting on the sidelines,
Yeah, I think the demand here is strong. So that news is probably going to make it even stronger, which is going to make it more competitive. And you have to stick to your guns and use your brain, not your emotions, to make purchases.
Yeah, maybe in the short term, it actually makes numbers a little bit rougher because you're going to have all these people kind of maybe wanting to jump in and take advantage of it, push the prices up a little bit. But the benefits of it with higher rents and higher appreciation, that stuff won't come till later. If it does come, but that won't come till later.
Yeah, it still seems like if things are priced right, they're still going, in a
Yeah.
few days under contract. So I think,
Yep.
if sellers are, have their, finger on the pulse in the market, they know kind of what price point or what, if you have agents like you folks that kind of have your, pulse finger on the market, you're able to put it priced correctly, right? Instead of having it sit for a while. So I think that's super important. Uh, as far as, this money, let's say it does reach itself to Pittsburgh or whatnot. Do you guys have any thoughts on maybe just your opinions on how your folks, maybe government in your city handles, funds and whatnot? You think they do a fairly good job as far as allocating resources and whatnot?
Alex?
Does our government allocate resources for housing?
Well, for your community, like for, let's say, Pittsburgh, right? Do you see, like, I would say Hawaii is very poor at handling, taxes and whatnot, and even the resources, or even permitting and whatnot. So, in your area, from your experience, you think it's even if this funding does get there for infrastructure and whatnot, you think it'll be handled in a pretty fairly efficient manner, or would you say your city government is on
The
the,
government's involved?
yeah?
No, it won't be handled in an efficient manner.
I think that given it's such a massive announcement and like really such a big deal, like building out, the next generation of energy infrastructure, um, and like has like national security implications with like, we want to be China or whatever it may be for the justification to do this. And, having the governor there on site, Josh Shapiro, like major government officials, like I think they're kind of setting a precedent where it's like this is going to move through, we're moving this through. um on a local government, like municipality level, yeah, I mean nothing's ever really efficient, to be honest. Maybe millage rates or some taxes go up because they want to kind of capitalize on some of the investment or growth that's happening there as well. But I don't know, I think the only indication we have now is that at the state and federal level, there were some massive announcements, and these officials were on site, making it very clear that these investments are going to happen. Uh, they want them to happen. They're kind of like very important for if we want to kind of take the U.S. in the next energy technology wave or whatever. So that's a good indication that if there are roadblocks, they're going to push them through, in my opinion. But yeah, anything at the local government, you're going to have inefficiencies and stuff.
All right. So also, rising costs, property taxes going up for a lot of areas, insurance. Do you see people or investors in your market maybe not taking on as big projects right now, Alex?
No, I think Liam might be able to expand on this because I'm not, again, in the trenches as much. But there aren't huge. I think we mentioned this before. So the population growth here in Allegheny County is non-existent. In fact, it possibly has come down 100,000 people since the 70s. So I think we're sitting at, like, don't quote me, but let's say we're sitting at 1.2 million now in Allegheny County. Maybe in the 70s it was 1.25 million. So there's not a lot of large apartment projects, developments, nothing like that. Now, if you go like to maybe Austin, Texas, or Texas in general, where you're having a mass influx from LA, people moving from California, I mean, there's probably projects going on every corner, large, massive projects. And you can become very rich, and you can also become very bankrupt at the same time if you aren't doing it correctly. So here in Allegheny County, Pittsburgh area, it's very steady, safe investment at this point, but no huge developments or projects going on that I've seen. Liam,
Yeah.
anything to add?
Yeah. I think I would agree. Like I have a client who just reached out. He wants to start doing some flips, but his daytime job is he's a developer. Like he's puts together kind of these large multifamily developments that have happened in some section of the city. And he mentioned he wanted to get into flipping because some of the projects he's tried to get online, either he had, they didn't work out the way he wanted to, or he had trouble like getting the financing on the front end. But it's just not something we see a ton of. I feel like those massive, we don't see a lot of cranes going on in Pittsburgh, really. If they are, it's usually like they're building another wing of a hospital or something. That's most of the investment that's happening is the hospitals or universities. And as to the population growth, yeah, like we've gone down quite a bit over the last 50 years or whatever. I think just last year we had a couple thousand people uptick in our population, which is nice to see for the first time in a long time. And then with all these investments, they're estimating 15,000 new permanent jobs once everything gets online. So that's something, but I don't know. Even then, I don't really see. It's obviously it's all speculation. It's hard to predict, but I don't really see like of us all of a sudden having a massive wave in population growth and all these buildings going up at some point. It's just hard to picture that here in Pittsburgh. But again, relative to what we've had, like either flat or declining population last year with the uptick, and then all these investments with new jobs coming to the area and stuff, we're going to have a relative uptick in some stuff. I'm sure some people will try to take advantage of that with some new buildings and new developments and stuff, but generally not so much. And then just people taking on bigger projects. I think our clients skew a little bit newer, so they're, less willing and able to take on like massive renovation projects or development projects. But I mean, I'm sure there's some people out there who are going to maybe look for those opportunities a little bit more now. But I'm curious from you, Alex, what have you seen with the leasing stuff lately? I feel like leasing's maybe slowed down a little bit on the residential side, just from what I'm hearing from some clients after, they get something closed or whatever.
I'm going to look at a spreadsheet real and see if, because we manage about 900 units. Right now we're sitting at about 25 vacancies. That doesn't say about say 750 units, because 150 are kind of segregated. So we have 25 out of 750. That's pretty low, actually.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So 25 divided by 750 equals 3%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
That's really good. And that's a huge portfolio. Like my portfolio, I have about 170 units, and I probably have probably 4 vacancies right now. So yeah, I'm not seeing rents increase a lot right now. Yeah. I think rents have kind of stabilized.
I think that's it. Yeah.
And even if I deal with this every day with owners who they're stuck on a price, I got to get 1,600 for it. And oh man, the market's telling me I can only get you 1,400 right now. So I would take it, because if you wait for 1,600 and it takes 2 more months, then what have you saved? You possibly lost money. And
I think that's the right attitude to have. Yeah. I think the average owner maybe doesn't look at that way. Maybe that's why your vacancy rates are so good.
Just get stuck on filling a vacancy with a good quality tenant, because I can fill vacancies all day long. I could be 100% occupancy, but then we're evicting tenant after tenant after tenant. And our evictions right now, we did some cleaning up, and we were for the past 6 months or so, we were doing about 10 evictions a month. We have a girl in our office now just handling evictions, and she's handling rent collection. And she got it so tight now where our vacancies are down. It's given our property managers more time to focus on filling vacancies and not going to evictions. And this month we had less than 5. I think we had 3 evictions this month. So
it's really good.
Yeah, you just got to run a tight ship and put quality tenants in there. It's imperative. Well, like we manage a 100-unit portfolio plus for a group, and they had somebody managing it for them for about 3 years, and it was running to the ground. I mean, we got drug addicts. That's where, remember the stories I told you, Mark, about deaths, and it's all because of a lot of them we've had in the past, but a wave of this crap we've dealt with, drug addicts, shovel wielding neighbors. I mean, you can't. It's just, and that's because they're garbage properties. They were managed terribly. And I told the owner, I said, it took you 3 years to totally decimate the way this portfolio runs. It's going to take us at least a year or 2 years to get it back up, and a lot of money to inject into these. So the solution here was they didn't want to put $1 million in, 120 units, say 10,000 units, that's $1.2 million, right? I mean, so what we're doing is we're selling some of them, taking that money, fixing up, trying to get everything under control and allocate resources on the good properties, sell the ones that are problems, and hopefully put it to rest. Yeah, it's $1.2 million. That's what it would take to clean this up in 2 years.
Are there any local quirks or county specific rules, for the eviction process that people should be aware of?
They're all every magistrate is different. So like every little township and borough will pretty much have their own. Sometimes they might share one, but it depends. Like I have one in Mount Washington with the city of Pittsburgh, but this specific magistrate handles the certain areas of Pittsburgh. And this lady, I've evicted her 5 times. And the reason I keep her is because it's cheaper to keep her. The reason is we bought it, we inherited her, we got a good deal on the house. The house needs so much work that if I get rid of her, I'm spending 50 to 70 grand fixing this house up. So we just keep evicting her. I keep raising her rent. She gets behind. And then I keep raising her rent again because she puts us through hell with good. I have to evict her all the time, and then she pays up, and then so we're like on our 5th or 6th eviction now. She's $3,000 behind now. I'm okay with that. I really just want her out. Okay, I want her out. The last time I just wanted her out. I don't want the $3,000 you owe me. Just get the hell out. Please go somewhere. I don't want you in my life anymore. Just go away. But the magistrate knows her really well. And every time I could probably sue a magistrate or something, but I don't even know if that's possible. I get an attorney and yada, yada, yada. So I work with the magistrate, keeps giving her pay and stay, meaning if she pays, she can stay. So I put her on a month-to-month lease. I raised her rent. She was $650 maybe 3 years ago. Now she's up to $1,100. So I'll just keep raising her freaking rent. If she wants to just stay, then I'm just going to keep raising your rent. And eventually you're not going to be able to pay and stay. And then I'm going to get you out, and then I'll rehab the house, and I'll probably end up selling it depending on the finances involved. But
which municipality is that, Alex?
It's the city of Pittsburgh. It's Mount Washington.
Gotcha.
But I don't know which, every ward, there's like 28 wards in Pittsburgh or maybe more, and they handle certain wards. And she happens to know the magistrate, but they're all different. They all have their own quirks. Some are tenant friendly, some are landlord friendly, and so you do the proper paperwork because it's all the same. But then once you get in front of that judge, the best offense is to make sure you have all of your stuff, like the rent roll, the lease, yada, yada. I mean, we come prepared, and the tenants usually aren't. They always come in with a story, and stories don't usually work. Facts work.
So for your management company, how effective would you say, or maybe for the eviction process? Like, is there like a usually favorites on your guys' side, you would say, or do you guys kind of have
99 out of 100? Yeah.
All right. Flavio says he has a tenant like that. I guess you were mentioning. Yeah. So I just want to say good morning to everyone. A lot of people tuning in. Flavio, Grandview, Washington. Frank is in Watsonville, California. We got Deconstructing Dreams, who's from Reno, Nevada. He has an Airbnb. He's go check out his YouTube channel also. JLD Systems. We got Big Val. Oh, Steven's working with Jeremy and Liam's team. He's in Canada. Joe V and Hugo's here. Yep, Hugo says he noticed I'm at 950 subscribers now, so hopefully he can get to 1,000 soon. So everyone, if you haven't, go please subscribe. Let's see what else we got. I did have a question. Shoot, I forgot what it was gonna be. Shoot, darn it. Anything you guys got top of mind right now until my question comes back, pops into my head?
Did you say you're almost at 1,000 subscribers?
Yeah, I'm at 950 right now.
Oh
So
man, I'll tell everybody I know, get you up to 1,000.
yeah, man. Let's what you been waiting for? Well, how's this? How if I get to 1,000, you play that guitar in the background for us?
Yeah,
That'll be the 1,000 subscriber party.
I like it.
Well, I love doing these with you because I'm not dedicated and I'm not I don't put the time in like you do to have content and do these because these are really helpful for people. Because my YouTube channel, I might have 30 videos on there over the span of 2.5 years, and this is helpful to me because it gives me content to add. I don't really care if I get subscribers. It just helps when I get new clients. They can go on the channel and they can listen and learn, and then adds validity to my knowledge and the context I have here. But man, you do an awesome job. So what does the 1,000 subscribers get you? Do you can you retire now after you get 1,000 subscribers?
No, but so that's the first to get monetized. So you got to have 1,000 subscribers
Okay.
and a certain amount of watch hours, and then you're technically a monetized channel. And so that's hopefully where even more. I think when you're monetized in your channel, we pushed a lot more in the algorithm. And so like you're mentioning, I think it's helpful for or useful for all of us, right? So it's helping me attract more people to invest in Pittsburgh with you folks. And it's also in that sense, it's also growing our community to where, when we reach out to you, hopefully, we're a little more on top of mind instead of us coming to you with only one property and be like, hey, I need help with this tenant or this property, right? But if we come kind of as a group, then it kind of just helps all of us. And I think a lot of people are reaching out to Liam and Jeremy, like Alex, like you're saying, they have a little more. Maybe if you're going strictly off the MLS, they have a little more in the trenches. You said so. People are using them, and then you, like I said, you're very helpful on the management side. A lot of knowledge. So yeah, we have different people working with different individuals, just whoever fits their personality. So I think it's just helpful for all of us. You see, so Flavio said, "Oh, Kenny's here. So morning, Kenny." But Flavio said, "I was ready to ask the same question about the guitar." So Flavio, I don't know if you know, but Alex was in a band. I don't. The band's not together, or right? Or
No, I did the drumming and probably 60% of the singing, and that was about 15 years ago.
now, Liam, have you heard or have you seen Alex perform?
No, I've been waiting years for that.
I'll have to make a comeback. I'm getting
I
the
think-
band together.
I think for our next holiday work party, Alex, maybe you do a solo or something like that. That sounds good.
Yeah, we'll have to sit around the bar and do a bunch of shots, and then I'll hop on.
Yeah.
Well, how's this? How's this, Alex? So I don't know if you've heard. And I think Liam has heard. I know Jeremy's aware of it. I don't know if you ever met Jack. He's kind of a part of he's in Pittsburgh. He actually lives there. So Jack is putting together a Pittsburgh meetup for a lot of people in our community. I believe it's the first week of September. If I make it to Pittsburgh, then you got to perform, Alex. How's that?
All right, that's fine.
All right. Okay.
I'll do one song.
All right.
It's not going to be pretty. Not going to be pretty.
Yeah, so just letting you know, so that Jack is putting together kind of a get together event type of thing. I think it's for the weekend. Well, I forget what weekend it was, but I believe it's first week of September. So
Great.
I know Mikey's gonna be making it there, Alex. So I don't know if he mentioned that to you.
Okay. Is he gonna he's gonna try to do this once a month? Is that what he's gonna try?
No. Just well, I mean, I don't know how much people are actually in Pittsburgh that's gonna actually be part of that kind of group. But I think it's going to be maybe people in the surrounding areas, maybe some people from like Ohio, Virginia. Like I said, Mikey from Hawaii is going to make the trip out there. I think he's going to take a look at his properties. I know he just closed on a triplex with you. Was it what is a triplex? Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah. I'm not sure if Steven from Canada was going to make it down. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
an interesting thing just happened with Mike. So with one of his properties, sold a really good quality single family home about 3 years ago in um, Freedom. It's in Beaver County. It's a nice little property. Came with a great tenant. Tenant's still there, but man, he just got hit. Like I just found out today with there's a massive tree. The house that's back. There's this massive tree towards the front of the house, but power line runs through it to the house, and the parking's right there. So some of these branches are falling down from this tree, and I mean, tree removal, that's one thing to look at when you're buying properties is you don't think about it, but think about a tree. And so the damage it can cause, it fell down, some of it can hit the car and stuff like that. It can, tree roots can get into the sewer lines. It can cause damage. Trees are not good for being anywhere near a house. They're great to have on the planet, but not near your house because they cause issues with a lot of different things. So we got him an estimate to this tree should be removed. It's like $2,500. So there goes his cash flow for the entire year. And the average investor doesn't budget for that. So it's hard to budget for that. So when you're looking at properties, it doesn't tell you in a book or on podcast to look for trees, but look for trees because they're going to cost you money.
Yeah, it's definitely something I keep an eye out for when walking places. Like if there's trees directly next to the property that are overgrown or branches overhanging the parking pad or the roof, like those definitely need addressed. So we kind of just factor that into any rehab you're doing on the front end. But like if you're just buying a turnkey property and not really budgeting for any, repairs, it's just plug and play, but then you have a tree that you're not thinking about. It's just good to kind of keep that in the back of your head when you're walking or looking at places.
that's funny you brought that up because that was one of the questions that was thrown into the school community. I think someone's in Texas. They're dealing with kind of the same situation, and they kind of just wanted other people's opinions whether they should remove these trees. I think one is closer to the home, one is kind of further away. But they figured if they're going to do one, they might as well get rid of both of them. But I think they were quoted 4,200 for both of them, and some other people who I think are in Florida and whatnot, they're like, oh, that's super expensive. Like they got it done for like $1,200 for like 2 trees kind of thing. And
It depends the size. It's so many variables. Like I have a place up near Conneaut Lake, which is 2 hours from here, and my house sits on 10 acres. It sits back, nice little setting. I found a guy up there who drops trees for 100. Well, he did. I don't think he's doing it anymore. $100 a tree. Now these aren't massive trees, but they're pretty freaking big. Some of these are like 40 feet tall. He's climbing up them, skinning them, dropping them. Him and his partner would do. They could do like 2-3 trees in an hour. They would cut them down, chop them up, leave them where they sit. It was my responsibility to get rid of it, so I just burned everything. Now, yeah, that's pretty cheap, right? Now up here, this tree I'm talking about, it's got a power line running through it. You need to have special equipment. You got houses on both sides. So you got to be knowledgeable because you don't want to be dropping branches on a house, So actually, that's not a bad price from the hundreds and hundreds of trees we've had removed as a management company. It can get quite expensive.
Yeah, I mean, would you? I think now the next question I would say is, do you think trees provide any value in a sense to an investment property? Like, do tenants feel like they're going to pay more rent because there is shade or there's this tree there?
No, small trees that are pruned and not going to grow high and cause a lot of damage with roots and such. Aesthetically can look nice, but
I was just going to say it's a curb appeal thing, if
Yeah.
anything. Like curb appeal, you can put a value on that, if it's kind of aesthetically makes the house look nicer or more appealing or whatever. But But no, you're not getting any bump in rent or whatever. I think it's more of like a subjective curb appeal thing.
Yeah, totally agree. That's why I'm like I think you touched on that. It's kind of something like if I have the opportunity, I would just get rid of it and save myself the headaches or any future hassles.
So just one thing to look for is look for trees, and budget that into at some point what it's going to cost to get rid of that tree. Eventually, it could never happen, but it could happen, and when you're not ready for it, it kind of hurts.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a good, even like if how close it is to the structure, I
Mm.
would try to use it as a bargaining tool or negotiating tool in the contract if the seller can get it removed at the time of purchase or whatnot. But just ways to see if you can get it taken care of up front, right? But Stephen from Canada says yes, he's going to Pittsburgh. Can't wait to see the city. Any advice? Maybe we'll kind of move off just slightly. Is there any advice to people first time coming to Pittsburgh? Is there certain places you guys would tell them they have to go to? Maybe Liam first.
I mean, I always tell people to go to Grandview Overlook in Mount Washington, get a good view of the city. That's kind of cool. Strip District is a popular place to go. Very walkable there. Good restaurants, real close to downtown. Lawrenceville is great. Again, very walkable, nice shops, very accessible and stuff like that. Those are the top three, like pretty desirable. Like, you can get a good picture, like the move and shake of the city type thing. Um, downtown. If you want to see what downtown looks like, go for it. But nothing special about it, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with everything you just said as far as the Grandview. Uh, that's a beautiful spot to see this city. Pittsburgh's a small city, man. It's very small, so you can drive through the city in probably an hour from one end to the other. So,
What about? So I just got back from Japan. So I had whale meat, I had whale tongue,
oh wow,
raw horse meat, I had eel liver. Is there anything that a restaurant or types of foods that people should
Pittsburgh
try?
delicacy.
Yeah.
I know pierogies are big here. I've never really gone to any like designated local Yinzer like pierogi spots, but I know it's a thing here for sure.
that's a good point. Yeah, pierogies. Do you know what a pierogi is, Mark? Have you ever?
I do not.
You have to look it up. You have to Google it. But
What is it? It's like a kind of like a dumpling exterior, but it's got like a potato filling.
They can have sauerkraut filling, a bunch.
Yeah, it's got all types of fillings, but they are good for sure. I mean, I went to a restaurant and I got the pierogi dish for an entree. I mean, I was underwhelmed.
Don't they also isn't like pickles? Don't they have like
Pickles
a
are big
pickle
here.
festival?
So they just did Picklesburg like 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, but that's a huge thing actually. I think it's been going on like 10 years and
Okay.
it's
Hey,
grown
Mark,
a ton.
excuse me 1 second.
Yeah, no problem.
It's grown a ton. Picklesburg is like a big thing now here in the city. So they rope off like 2 bridges downtown and they just fill them with like different stands for like pickle beer and pickle shots and pickle cocktails and fried pickles or whatever it may be, but
Yeah, I
it's
saw
a
that.
thing. Yeah.
So have you been there? Have you gone? You must have
Oh
gone
yeah.
there.
Yeah,
So
I didn't
what
go
would
this
be
year. I kind of get it. Like I've gone to several of them and I like it. It's fun.
what would be like maybe something that someone would never consider like a pair with pickle that would taste well that you tried it, you're just kind of like, oh, okay, this is good. I would never thought of that.
Oh yeah, I know there's a couple cocktails that were like what, but also the pickle beer, which is surprisingly good, by the way. The pickle beer is probably it, but there were a couple odd cocktails going on that were pickle infused. They probably had a pickle martini in there or something, which I would have definitely tried, but I don't know.
Well, Flavio had this question for Alex. So when he comes, but I'm not sure what it is. So he says, what advice can you give to a new investor? I'm in my 25% of my investing retirement. I don't know what he means by 25% of my investing retirement. Flavio, as usual, you're gonna have to clarify your message a little bit better. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll
is
give
he
him. I'll give
25% of the way to retirement
me.
with
Yeah,
investments?
that's
I
what I
don't
may
know.
be thinking.
Maybe that's it.
So John from Reno says, "Are there big events all summer?" So Reno has a lot of events. So besides this Pickleberg, you said, is there other events going
Picklesburg.
on?
Yep.
Picklesburg.
Yeah, there's a
Isn't there like
bunch.
a the boat, not a regatta type of thing also?
So there's a ferry type thing. I forget what it's called, but yeah, it takes you along the rivers and stuff. I mean, there's tons of events. Picklesburg is one. That's a big one. Um, Certain areas and municipalities have their own kind of thing. So I used to live in Millvale. That had the Millvale Music Festival, which is huge. Like it's got I don't know, like 100 or 200 bands that play over like 3 days. Um, so there's that. There's also Millville Days, which is another like summer thing. Um, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's I usually get the like event news from like some Instagram pages I follow, like stuff to do in Pittsburgh or whatever. Or like some of the local news pages are putting out kind of different events. But yeah, there's a lot going on for sure.
How walkable is Pittsburgh? How walkable is a city?
Just depends what neighborhood you're in. Like the couple I mentioned, uh, Lawrenceville is very walkable. It's great, and Strip District. Those two definitely very walkable. Um, but it's very hilly here, and the neighborhoods are kind of cut off by the topography. Like you go over a hill and you're in a different neighborhood. So it's generally a driving city, but certain neighborhoods or pockets are very walkable. Yeah.
I think I don't know if you folks mentioned it, or maybe I saw it on another YouTube video talking about Pittsburgh. But is that also why, like you said, it's very hilly? Is that
Hmm.
part of the reason why a lot of maybe, like you're saying, these apartment or not these new
Yeah. It's hard
infrastructures
to
are?
build.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Okay.
build because of the land and the topography and stuff like that. You're like you building into the side of a hill or something like that. Um, so and a lot in the city is kind of already built out, but even some of these lots, yeah, they're just not great to build on. It's just hard to do. So I think that's a reason for sure. Yeah.
Sorry, I was going to throw you right into the fire. So there was a question for you from Flavio. He says, Alex, what advice can you give to a new investor? He says, I'm in my 25% of investing retirement. So I guess, so me and Liam kind of clash. So I guess he's 25% of the way to retirement. I think that's
Ah,
his.
so he's 25%. He has a plan, and he's 25% there to.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what he's talking about.
That's interesting. Well, it's better to be cautious at first, for sure. You want to work on raising your real estate IQ, and you look at the downside of everything and make sure that you can live with the downside of whatever decision you're going to make business wise. There's always an upside and a downside. If you can live with the downside and it's palatable as far as the risk, then pull the trigger, because if you don't, you'll be kicking yourself because you never tried it. But just be safe, build a good team, um, use the proper numbers, raise your real estate IQ. Don't pull the trigger too quickly. If you're buying too many things too quickly, you're probably not doing your homework. And yeah, then go for it.
How is short-term rentals in the area? So like John, like I said, he's in Reno. He does Airbnb, but he's curious about locations for the events. If he did a short-term rental there, would be nice to be near where people want to go?
Yeah. So I work with a ton of short term rental clients actually. Like I've transacted I think three or four for clients in the past couple months. And I had some Airbnbs for a period of like 3 years from like 2020 to 2023. Um, but yeah, like there's plenty of, I would say you have to be a bit more picky with locations when you're doing short term rentals. Um, so like, yeah, the higher in demand, walkable, generally nice quality of living areas are the way to go. Like South Side is good. Um, Lawrenceville Strip District, some areas on the north side next to the stadiums, and the casino, and some sections of the like East Liberty where you're near Shady Side, Bloomfield, some parts of Oakland where there's all the universities and hospitals. Uh, I would say generally you want to be like more in the city center because that's where you're going to have more demand coming to those areas for short-term rental type stuff. Uh, but very location independent for sure, or location dependent. But yeah, we do a bunch of those. Jeremy just had a client reach out today, so I just got connected with who's going to be looking for one at some point. Uh, but yeah, there's some good pockets that can perform really well. One client bought like two in the last month. We double ended one deal that was in Southside, just this sick property, kind of overlooking Southside flats, with like a rooftop kind of deck type thing. So he bought that one, kind of turned it all over, and then he just bought another one more in the flat section of Southside. Uh, but he's pretty experienced with the short term rentals.
Okay, and my next question is, so like Alex, you said you folks have maybe what 750 properties under management, and whatnot. Do you folks also help out-of-state investors manage their short-term rentals?
No, I'm not real knowledgeable on the short-term rental side, and we do not, because it's a completely different business model and management strategy. So we don't really get into that.
Liam,
There's a
you
good
folks?
company. So I don't do any management for the clients, but there's a company called Hostaid or Hostmate, um, that I worked with on this one that I just transacted, and they were pretty good. They were responsive. Seemed like they did things the right way. The client that bought it ended up not using them. He wanted to kind of have a closer touch on things. But they seem good. Like they seem like a good option if you don't want to self manage the short term rental. That company would probably
And
be good.
that's a local company, or they're...
I think they're in Pennsylvania.
Oh,
I
okay.
know they're in a couple different markets. Um, but yeah, they're not a huge company, which is kind of nice.
Okay. Interesting. Hey,
I can
what's
make
up?
an intro if anybody needs.
Yeah. So I'll put Team Taggart's Instagram page if you guys want to connect with Liam. I'll put Alex's channel also again. But Jim is tuning in, so what's up, Jim? I know Jim has been in contact with Alex and Liam also. Jim's in California, finishing up some of his own projects out there, and then he's looking into jumping into the Pittsburgh market. Frank making trouble already says Steelers are a big draw and Bears not so much because he knows I'm a Bears fan, Chicago Bears fan. So let's see. Yeah, we can. I mean, maybe about 5, 10 more minutes. I don't know if you guys got to bounce. Anything else top of mind? You guys want to talk about the market? Anything else you're seeing? Um,
Nothing top
any
of
good
mind for me
deals
right
coming
now.
across your guys' table right now?
Well, I'm working on a 10 unit right now that was brought to me by a wholesaler, and we have it's two buildings on one parcel, and nice buildings and a very good price. So you have to do in the city. It depends on the municipality and the township. They have different requirements before you could change ownership. So in this particular township, you have to do most townships now. You have to do a dye test, which makes sure your downspouts aren't going into the public sewer. So like your rainwater from your roof can't be going into the same sewer line as where your wastewater goes from your toilets and your sinks and such. Some municipalities require the sewer line to be cambered. So you have to hire a plumber to put a camera down the sewer line to make sure the sewer line is clear, flowing, and it's not compromised. Meaning your wastewater can't leach into the surrounding soil and potentially, cause hazards to other people's property. I think it's ridiculous, but some townships require that. So we had this done. The owner now has to dig up a sewer line. It's going to be $10,000 just so they can get the camera through to make sure the rest of the line is okay.
That's the worst.
That's just on one building. The other building we couldn't get into, so they have to they have to do about $500 of work so they can get the camera in and check that one. So we kind of got through that. The work's scheduled to be done middle or August 11th or something. Then we had this really heavy rain about a week or 2 weeks ago. And this particular driveway is very long, and you get a lot of runoff from this driveway, and that water goes and can potentially end up in neighbors' yards and such, in their basements, right? So I had a curveball thrown at me 2 days ago that the township wants a stormwater plan. So meaning, what am I going to do, or what the current owner's going to do before they'll allow us to sell it to each other, is what are we going to do with this stormwater runoff? And I have no idea. Like, is this going to cost me $50,000 because you got to put, a stormwater retention pond in with gravel, and I'm like beside myself. So now I'm going to be learning about stormwater runoff, and I guess I'll be able to educate whoever's on this call at some point in the future. They have
Alex,
to deal with
I'm
it.
glad you brought that up because I'm curious. Because I think I had a similar issue at one of mine, and it's in Sheridan. I know you've owned in Sheridan before, right?
Yeah.
So
that's weird.
I had, when we were getting a ton of rain earlier this season, I was having all these weird plumbing issues going on in the house. And I had somebody, first of all, I had like 5 plumbers out there trying to figure out what's going on. Nobody could figure out what's up. But it sounds like because of all the water runoff from the rain, the storm water, or all that water was going into and overloading like the sewer system, which was causing backups throughout the rest of the house.
That's pretty common. It can be common. Yeah.
So I had a waterproof, my basement and waterproofing guy go out there, and he looked it up on some website. I don't know what it was, and I don't know exactly. I don't remember what the wording was, but he said that in this section of the city, the stormwater system and the sewer system were combined or something like that. He was able to look it up on a map.
Yeah, on these older communities, it can be an issue.
Yeah. But it sounds like he was just, maybe it's normal for some sections, like maybe that's just a thing. And I didn't know that before buying. Of course, it was a wholesale deal, and I wouldn't have not bought it if that were the case. But
you wouldn't have known it. You would never.
Yeah.
Know. Yeah. So, but we've dealt with it probably a dozen times over the years. Various properties, Millvale, City of Pittsburgh, Aliquippa in Beaver County. I have a house out there. But this particular instance is actually just, it's an acre or so of land, and it's up on a hill, and all this water runs off to this private driveway, which I'm going to own if I buy it, and all that water has to go somewhere. And to be honest with you, it's really not fair to the township to say I got to put a stormwater plan in place, because what's above me? What about their water? I don't even know. I'd have to get over there and really take a close look, but it's not all my water, And what about when it hits the public street? Then what about all that water? Is that, what I'm saying? But you can't fight government, so you got to either do it their way or get out of the way. So I have to figure out what to do with this runoff. Do I need to get an engineer in there to create something and a drawing, and then execute that drawing, and how much is that going to cost? I have no idea. So I'm just in the first stages of that, and I'll let you know how it turns out.
Would you say that having the heavy rains was a little bit fortunate then? Would that have been something that came up if there wasn't the heavy rains at that time?
It could be. Actually, it could be. It could be a fortunate thing for me, because now I can address it before I purchase. And, if it's probably $20,000 or less, I would handle it, since I'm getting such a good deal on this, or I'd negotiate with the seller, because she's really nice, and I feel bad for her. She's very nice, and it kind of sucks, but it's going to take time.
That'll be for your own portfolio, Alex?
Yes, I would probably hold on to this one for maybe 2-3 years. A segue back to the trees. This one is these are 2 really nice buildings, well maintained. Probably 50 years old, which is relatively new for city of Pittsburgh. It's not in city, but it's for Allegheny County. It's relatively new, and they're all brick and they're in good condition. There are a ton of trees. Like, I probably got $20,000 in tree trimming and removal over the next 5 to 10 years. So and the steep driveway. I'm like, I'm getting at such a good price that I probably hold on to it for a shorter term and then liquidate it and maybe do a 1031 exchange or something down the road. But
man, I want to do deals like that soon.
they don't. They
don't come around. Yeah. Those 5 to 20 unit deals is a space I'd like to get into, but they're not around really.
This fell in my lap. It wasn't by
probably off market. Yeah,
it wasn't by design. It was kind of by accident. But kind of people I know, and they reached out to me, and I'm like, oh, I looked at it, but yeah, those deals don't come along. But it's always something, man. It's this stormwater thing threw me for a loop. Now I gotta.
Yeah, I'm probably spending. I think I'm spending $6,000 to do some waterproofing. Make sure that excess rainwater isn't overloading the system and then causing other issues for us. So at some point I'm going to be doing, all that waterproofing work, which it's needed. So it is what it is.
All right, we got a couple more questions. I know, Alex, you might have to wrap things up for yourself.
Yeah, I have about 9 more minutes.
Okay. And let's see. Well, let's go with S. Haven't seen you here before. Don't forget to like and subscribe. But what do you think about buying a property in the city with a septic tank? Are there disadvantages of a septic tank?
Is it actually in the city? Because there are some areas in the city that have septic. I feel like in the city, personally, I wouldn't be crazy about it. It's kind of just one more thing to have to maintain, or if you sell down the road, one more thing for a buyer to have to worry about. I think if it's any different from that average situation for that general area, then it's kind of a pain. But if you're more out in the suburbs or in a rural area where septic tanks are much more common, then that's less of an issue, because relative to the rest of what's on the market or available to people to buy, septic tank is maybe a more normal thing. But if you're in the city with a septic tank, I'd say that's probably a major downside.
I agree with Liam on that.
Yeah, they just said yes. It's unincorporated land.
Huh. Yeah,
sometimes it just
research,
is.
Make sure you test the system, and but again, what Liam said, if it's in an area that typically has public sewer, then just be careful. That's all. Just be careful with it. Maybe not worth pursuing, because there's more.
Definitely want to get it inspected, no matter what. Make sure it's inspected and in good condition or whatever. But you do have to empty those every year or whatever.
Yeah, I like Liam's point. A lot of people hope, hopefully the vision is buying the best property in a sense on the block, right? You might buy in a C-class area, but buy the best property in that C-class area. So if you're having a septic where it's not common in that area, you're kind of putting yourself possibly in a slight disadvantage, down the road to resell or value or whatnot.
And I know I don't know when it was, but we were looking at one with the grumpy contractor, and that one was, I think it was Aliquippa, and it had a septic tank, but the wholesaler looked into the cost to add public sewer. I think it was like $7 or $9,000. So there is, you could run those numbers too. Maybe there is an opportunity to tie it into the main, and that might be worth doing. But honestly, that's not something I really know the cost of. I'm sure it's not cheap depends how much length you have to run and stuff like that. So,
all right. So
make sure you budget for it. Yeah. That's the case, right. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe the last one for the day, like you said, grumpy contractor, Jim from California says, has new inventory slowed down?
Does Liam mean better off with it than I am?
I don't know if he means new developments or just like rehabbed properties. But I would say, I don't know about new developments, but just rehabbed, like updated inventory. I'd say that hasn't really slowed down, no, but hasn't spiked. I think that's stayed pretty steady, but things are just taking a little bit longer to sell, so that can translate into a little bit more maybe rehabbed or cosmetically updated inventory on the market at any given time. But I wouldn't say we've seen a huge spike or dip. It's kind of just, people are still rehabbing places and listing them essentially.
All right. He says resale properties, but Jim just said, do you know what happened with that one, or could
I'm
you
not
find
sure.
out?
We could ask the wholesaler though.
Okay.
Probably gone by now if they haven't followed up. Usually they get somebody for it in a couple days or a week or something.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you can hang around a little bit, Alex, when I end this, if you want to chat a little bit for a few minutes. But yeah, thanks, Liam, jumping on last minute. Alex, like I
Sure.
said, thanks for doing this as usual. A lot of fun, a lot of good information. And everyone tuning in, thanks for stopping by. I'll be back tomorrow with Ray and Harrison talking. So Ray's in Washington area. He has an Airbnb out in Michigan or in that area, but they want to talk about kind of the Airbnb collapse in a sense. Everyone's talking about the doom on Airbnb short-term rentals. So that'll be tomorrow. And thanks everyone for tuning in. Have a great day.
See ya. Thank you.
Oh, shoot. Real quick. How can we reach you? Quickly then, where can we reach you folks? S is asking. I'll put their, yeah.
If you want to just DM our Instagram page, Taggart Team PGH, that's probably easiest for now. I mean, I could send you my number, email too, but for now, that's probably the easiest.
Yep. So S right there is Taggart Team PGH Instagram page. Go check them out. And Alex, you can always find them at Deacon Hoover.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Thanks everyone. Okay.
Thank you.